Good evening, Stunthanger fans. Welcome. It is Friday, the 20th of December, and the year is 2019. Actually, I said 2016 on our previous show this past Monday, but I assure you it's 2019. And welcome. We are here to talk about aeromodeling for the next couple of hours. And the links are posted in all usual places. That would be in the At the Bench thread in the Stunt Hanger control line forums. And if you will go to the main Stunt Hanger forum page underneath the open forum and scroll down, you'll see the At the Bench thread on that main page. And the top link with today's date in it has the links where you can come visit us here with your cameras and microphones. And if you would like to just watch anonymously or text, if you don't have a microphone and a camera, you can go to the Stunt Hanger YouTube page. On the main channel page for Stunt Hanger, there's a text box where you can type and ask your questions and give your answers and opinions and whatever else you got for us, and we'll try to incorporate that into the conversation. And looks like we've got somebody already joining us. Eduardo Letty. Thank you, Eduardo. Welcome. I'll be with you in just a moment. As soon as I get finished with my opening comments, we'll get started. And so, anyway, hopefully, we'll have a good Friday crowd and some good conversations going. I'm probably going to have to cut it short tonight. I got to get up earlier than usual for a Saturday morning tomorrow. So, we'll go at least until midnight, and that's the official showtime anyway. Sometimes the diehards keep on going till 2 o'clock in the morning. We're probably not going to do that tonight unless it's awfully good. Um, but anyway, let's see. We got a got space news today. NASA and SpaceX racing to see who can get their crew capsules to the station first. Looks like SpaceX just took the lead, and NASA's Boeing Starliner had a glitch on the way, and they're going to have to bring it home without going to the station. Everything worked fine. The Atlas V boosted it up. The second stage Centaur engines worked perfectly. And then when the Starliner separated, its own engines did not fire to take it to its docking orbit. And so it is now in an incorrect orbit, being moved to a 200-mile orbit, and a couple of days, probably depends on what they decide to do. They'll go ahead and drop it on the desert in New Mexico, and that's where it should parachute safely back to Earth. Sorry, NASA. Looks like SpaceX pulled ahead of you on this one, but I hate to see anybody fail. So hope y'all get that fixed. Hey, Gary Sinclair. Um, yeah, Gary, I've been meaning to email you. Sorry, I'm being a little slow with my calendar editing. Gary just came into the YouTube over here, and I'll finish that up tomorrow and get those edits to you tomorrow evening, and then it'll hopefully we'll be done with it by then. Um, just been uh, just been unable to get in front of the computer long enough to hack out all those edits. But anyway, looks like a good night for a show. So hope some live visitors will come in and hang out with us. And let's see, Edward. Jack Snavely says, hello, Eduardo and Rusty and all other airheads. Hello, Jack. Glad to see you here. Gary, glad y'all are with us. And that's about it for my monologue tonight. So I hope some live guys will come in with their cameras and microphones. We do have someone on Stunt Hanger who calls himself RSM on Stunt Hanger, was posting about a plane that somebody gave him that had been covered in silkspan, and he wants to fix it up and fly it, but he wanted to recover it with monocoat and has questions about that. And I think he was originally thinking of putting monocoat right over the right over the silkspan. somebody, as I would have advised him to go ahead and take as much of the silk span off as possible, and then monocoat it if that's what he really wants to do. Um, and he wanted to speak to John Miller about it because John posted a thread in Stunthangar about that. Hey, Tom Remmel just joined us. How you doing tonight?
Hi, Rusty.
Anyway,
Doing good.
John posted something about that monocoating over silk span in Stunthangar, and this RSM fellow wants to talk to him about it. So he asked me if he could get a link to the show, and I posted back, explained how to get into the show. So maybe we'll have a new visitor tonight, and that'll be RSM, whoever that is. Let's see, we got a fellow jitster with no name joining us. What?
Special ops for UV protection are scratch resistant and can survive the harshest conditions.
Hey, fellow jitster, if you can hear me, let me turn his volume down.
No, wait, your special ops. They're available in Walmart Vision Centers. I've never had them conducted the most rushed, least thorough, and most unfair engagement.
Not sure what we got here. Hello. If you've got anything on in the background, like a YouTube feed or a TV or anything, make sure to turn that down, and I'll turn your mic back up. There we go.
It's time to replay your independent with imaging one constant concentrate.
Sounds like a TV going. Here comes John Miller.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, hey, John. Can't see your face yet. Somebody was just trying to join and had a lot of background noise, and I don't know if it was a YouTube page in the background or a TV radio, but he dropped back out. It just said fellow jitster, but he wanted to talk. There was somebody on Stunthangar that was hoping he could get into the show and talk to you, because it's a thread about a plane that's covered with silk span that was given to him, and he wanted to put monocoat on it instead of the silk span. And word is, somebody said John Miller posted about something like this a while back, and so this fellow known as RSM is going to try to join the show tonight so he can talk to you and ask you about it. So that's all I know about it so far.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I saw the post.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the post.
That might have been him that was trying to come in with us.
Might have been.
Sure.
Looking at his plane, it looks like it's all finished dope and everything. Looked good. I thought the plane looked good. I agree with the other guy posting saying, why change it? It looks good. Take it out, put your name and number out, take it out and fly it.
Yeah, and if it gets all messed up, then you can either learn how to silk span or pull it off and put monocoat on it. There were various opinions on that. Hey, Jeff, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, John.
Well, whoever that was that was trying to get in just a minute ago, sorry you couldn't get in, but make sure your background is quiet and all other tabs are quiet on your computer, and see if you can try again. I don't know if it was Eduardo. We've got Eduardo Letty on the YouTube side, and don't know him, but we'll see who that is. And then that may or may not have been our failed guest a minute ago. But anyway, how's everybody tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
Finally got out of the shop early enough to get on the screen.
Yeah, man, you've been having to come and type at us a little bit lately, but I hadn't seen you in real life for a couple of week or so.
Working on a plane, and I've taken some of the knowledge I've gotten through watching Sparky, and I've cut out all my ribs and my leading and trailing edge, my fuselage sides. But I had a question, especially for either John or Denny. John would probably be able to answer, is have you used anything besides maple for motor mounts?
Not with any good luck.
'Cause I have a stick of poplar out here that's just as hard, and it's a shade lighter. And
Well,
I'm powering it with what Sparky calls tip weight. It's just going to be a Fox 35.
well, if I remember correctly, poplar, I used to make my control line handles out of that, and it is a little bit softer than maple, but and a little bit lighter. You could probably do it if you used say like a 3/16 of good aluminum, not that stuff you get from the hardware store, but from McMaster cars. You get some of that and put that on there to toughen it, to where you got it, where that's where it's mounted on, and you bolt that through your mounts. I think you'd be doing all right that way.
You mean just
What if I
little?
put
You mean just little rectangular pads to put between the engine and the wooden bearer? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but I'd make them about a ½ inch on both ends longer, quarter
Spread
to
the
half an inch.
pressure out.
Spread
Yeah,
spread the weight out.
yeah.
what if I put a piece of 1/8 inch light ply on the bottom of the crutch? That way the tank would sit against the plywood, and so would the motor, the ears on the motor.
Well, yeah, but light ply crushes real easy.
Oh, okay. Because I
Is
have a
there
bunch of
anything that's is there anything that's harder and stronger than maple?
Yeah, you can go with some of the fiberglass. Like if you want to go with something and you don't have the I put a 1/4 inch firewall on there and bolt on an RC mount.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, because I've got a stack of T6 aluminum out here that's probably 2 foot square. I mean, and I could cut it with my bandsaw, so I could make strips to mount the motor, and then I could actually make a tank lid for it, so the tank is at the same level.
Yep, yeah, you could do that. You could also you could use either blind nuts on the other side, or better yet, drill it and use threaded inserts. I really like threaded inserts.
Okay, threaded inserts in the poplar, and then probably epoxy the aluminum to it.
You could do that. Yeah, you could do that quite easily. Though I tell you, basically, I'm stuttering. I don't mean to do that. I would look at what the old doc had to say in one of the posts on Stunthangar here recently, where he was talking about mounting engines, and he was using 1/8 inch thick stuff that he got from the hardware store. That's a little too thin but if you read what he said to do, and then alternate that with either 3/16 or 1/4 inch 2026 aluminum or something like that, one of the harder ones. Then what you do is he's got the mounting system in there, works really good. You're actually drilling it, counter drilling it for a oh, it's terrible to get old, the countersunk bolts. And he puts a countersunk bolt on the bottom, and then he bolts it in on both ends outside of the motor, and he's got the countersunk bolts coming under here. He can then go ahead and make mounts for his different engines. They all have the same mount out here, but in here that's different, and you can move your engine forward and backward in there, depending on the length of your engine. It's a really neat setup.
Is that like a bar clamp?
No, it's not a bar clamp at all. You've got your aluminum there, and you come in, you drill your holes for your motor mounts, and then you turn the mount over and you countersink it for a not a finishing screw, a countersunk.
Yeah.
So you finish it with a countersunk, so it will fit down flat on your motor mount material. Then you use a you use a nut with a what is it, plastic insert in it so that it doesn't come
Oh
undone
yeah,
on you. And
nylon.
then you move out and you got, let's say your mounts are your aluminum is 2.5 inches long, and you drill your holes out there into your motor mounts, say at 2 inches. You can drill a whole bunch of 2 inches, and then you can mount any engine you want, re-drill it, reset it up so that that one will fit right in where the other one is.
I see. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a slick little idea. I've seen it done before, and like I say, the old doc, he set up a nice post on it, and a couple people commented on it, and called the attention to that you might want to use some thicker material. He says though that it's been working for him at 1/8 inch thick. So
I'll check that out. Thank you.
yeah, check it out.
Hey,
I'm really-
Sparky, what's going on tonight?
Not a whole lot. I thought I'd just drop in and see what's happening.
Hi, Sparky. How you
Not
doing?
much.
Hi, Santa Claus.
Good to see you. You been good?
Nope.
No? How come that doesn't surprise me?
It's busy this time of the year for you.
Yeah.
How about you,
Be
Tom? What's
surprised.
going on? I hadn't spoken to you yet since you came in. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Yeah, not much happened this week. Worked every day. Dark when I leave for work, dark when I get home from work. So
Yeah. It was pouring rain on one of my free days this week and cold as hell yesterday, and I spent the day Christmas shopping. So yeah, that was pretty good. Good exercise, Christmas shopping. Anyway, I did a few circuits around several stores. So the exercise, good for me.
There is one bright side. Tomorrow's the shortest day of the year.
Is it tomorrow? I was trying to decide if it was today or tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 11:39, I think.
Excellent. Hey, Bob Bishop over on YouTube. Hadn't seen you too much lately. Well, in my opening monologue, I talked about the launch from NASA this morning. They looked like they were going to do really well, and then had a foul up and didn't fire the engines on the Starliner capsule to put it in the rendezvous orbit for the International Space Station, and so they've put it in a higher orbit, and they're going to bring it home, drop it on the sand in New Mexico in a couple of days. That's its normal landing spot.
That satellite was one of the last projects my wife worked on at Boeing before she retired.
Okay, now it wasn't carrying a satellite payload.
No, it's supposed to be some kind of a docking capsule.
It was carrying
Yeah,
Christmas.
the Starliner crew capsule.
It was carrying Christmas presents for the people on the space station.
Yeah.
That's what they said this morning.
Hey, look at that. Your wings
All right,
your ribs are crooked.
There you go. Now you got the shape. Hey, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, that's looking really nice. I love the wheel pants and oh yeah.
Yeah.
that looks great.
Have you got the fiberglass on the nose yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
Another day of sanding tomorrow over John's, and when I go home for Christmas, I'll paint.
Looks good.
What's it weigh, Sparky?
35 ounces, as you see it here.
That's nice.
Yeah.
that's gonna be a good one.
It'll be 41, 42 ounces, unfortunately. Because I do want it finished nice. It's going to be all red. There'll be a gold radiator here, and then a red line, and a gold radiator here, gold radiator on top of the wheel, just like the MC72. And the blue, green, and white striped rudder.
You gonna put exhaust on that thing?
I'll paint them on. I'm not gonna glue anything on it.
Okay. It's going to
Are
look
you gonna
good.
do leaf?
I like it. It's coming along. Been I don't know how long I've been working on it. Probably hour a day for 6 months.
It hasn't been that long, has it really? Wow.
I don't know. Been a while.
Yeah, looks good.
So,
One
John,
day maybe I'll build something like that.
I like your idea, John. John, at the end of the show last time, your idea about drawing up some plans and having everybody build. I like
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
idea.
taking some stunt ships and downsizing them a little bit. I think that's what you said, isn't it, John?
Well, basically, I was talking about coming up with a good nobler, relatively smaller nobler wing, but it'd be the same general proportions for half A was what I was thinking, and that and a stab and elevator. We'd have to determine what percentage we'd want the stab and elevator to be, and the flaps, and then from there on out, you can put anything you want in between there.
Well, that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to build another Junar, only going to look like a Tucker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So just a bigger Tucker. I sold my orange Junar.
Oh, really?
That's a oh, come on. The ribs on that.
Yeah, geodesic.
Okay.
Warren
Thanks.
Trust. But I'm going to build another wing. I'm going to do the same numbers as my first Junar because it flies the best. Run a Brian Gardner Super Tagger 60 because it's lighter than the PA 75 with the same nose moment and tail moment, but it'll just look like a Tucker.
Yeah.
I'll have to get busy if I'm going to fly that next year. I don't have the same drive that I had when I'm at home. You know, when I get off work, I just want to watch TV. I don't want to stand there and sand.
Well, who designed the Tucker? Where'd that plane originate?
Bob Tucker, St. Louis.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
About
Plastic legal.
About 61 or 62, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
That's the one that Ted found out he had to put some weight in it to ballast it before it flew right for him.
Yeah, let me tell you something. If you got to add weight, you didn't build it right.
Well, we won't tell him.
Yeah. I ain't adding no weight on mine. Yeah, even Brett Buck said, oh, we added 6 ounces. It flew so much better, blah, blah, blah. Shit, they flew those airplanes at 30, 38, 37 ounces, you know?
Yeah.
But I can't build it that light because I don't have the wood they had. But I don't see how they built them that light with wood that light because you can't hardly handle it.
Yeah. Well, I remember back in the day, we didn't weigh our airplanes. We just took them out and flew them.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, they were finished really, really nice. They were really light.
Sparky, you and I think, used to fly in the same general area when we were young.
The Whittier Narrows?
You were in Southern California, weren't you?
Right. Whittier Narrows.
Yeah, I flew up in Glendora.
Yeah. Hollywood
we both went to Covina Hobby Shop.
Ed's Covina Hobby.
Yeah.
That's on Hacienda Boulevard or Highway 39. We used to ride my bicycle from West Covina, Francisco, and Sunset to Glendora on Highway 39 to Ed's Covina Hobby. Ed would lean over the counter and he'd say, "Are you boys back there marking up the wood?" We used to take our fingernail, and poke into the wood. The softer wood was the lightest wood. And Rob Gow and I would go up there, and Ed would go, "Are you boys back there putting fingernail marks in that wood again?"
Yeah, we got to give it the tenderness test.
Well, I was there about 6 years ago, and it was still going strong. But I read something that I don't know whether the guy that owned it or what. Somebody there died recently.
It was called Ed's Covina Hobby. I don't know what it's called now.
Yeah. You ever go fly over at Gladstone High School?
What?
Did you ever go fly over at Gladstone High School? That wasn't too far from West Covina.
No, I flew at Edgewood High School.
Well, we didn't run into each other, but we were close.
Willowwood High School, or Willowwood Middle School, Orangewood Grade School.
Yeah, those were the days.
Did you ever eat
Spend all day Saturday and Sunday there.
Did you ever eat at the original In-N-Out hamburger on Francisco and Interstate 10?
Absolutely.
That thing was just a little shed, and you'd pull your car up, and they'd cook them right there. They make grilled onions and toasted buns. And then we'd go over to the Edgewood Drive-In and watch the movie. A bag of hamburgers for $1.
Yeah. Well, you remember what we used to do with the In-N-Out burger signs?
No.
The bumper stickers.
No.
Well, I won't say it on here.
That was a good time in life back then.
It was.
My friend Ken Pasco, he took a Cougar. We were flying at Willowwood Middle School. He took a Cougar and he let the handle go on purpose, and that thing went flying up in the air, rotating around the handle, just up and up and up, and it ran out of gas. And then when it came down, it just kept going around in a circle around the handle, and it wrapped around these wires, these high tension lines, and then smack, and it hit the curb. So 15,000 wires. Ken Pascal goes up there, and he reaches out and he grabs the flying lines, and he went, "Ooh, hot!" But he had good tennis shoes on, and they popped and they broke right at the top there because he had grounded it enough. And I guess there wasn't enough wire there to make amperage. And the guys from the power company come running down. "Are you all right? Are you all right?"
I had a friend named Johnny Anderson. He built him it was brand new at the time, the Sterling Spitfire kit, and he built one of the first ones I ever saw, and he got it all done, and he brought it over. We're flying at Roosevelt Middle School and elementary school. Anyway, he was flying it, and he went up over the wing over, first flight, went up over the wing over, and he got shocked right in the middle of his hand from that Easy Jet. and let go of it. And like you say, it went up there flying around and around like this. He had a full tank of fuel in it, and it got pretty high. We could just barely hear it, barely see it flash every once in a while. Well, we see it coming down. The wind was blowing just slightly to the northeast, and so we jumped on our bikes and we started chasing after it. And we watched it come down, and we lost sight of it as it got about 100 feet off the ground. But we knew what subdivision it went into, so we're in there riding up and down these streets in this subdivision, and we look over, and here's his brand new Spitfire sitting there hanging by the lead outs with the wingtip about a foot above the ground, just swinging back and forth in the little breeze. And the lines were draped up over the house and out and into the backyard. Well, there wasn't anybody home, and so we jumped over the fence, grabbed his lines, and pulled it all over and stuffed it all into into whatever we had to stuff it into. He didn't have one problem with that airplane. There was not a ding in it. Saved that whole airplane.
And Easy Just handles will shock the crap out of you.
Oh, they will. Right in the middle of your palm. Where'd Jeff go?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Those were the days. That was about 1969 or 68 that Ken did that.
Oh yeah. It was about 1960 when Johnny Anderson did that. Yeah, good times.
I remember where I was when they landed on the moon. I was starting a voodoo on the back patio when they said what they interrupted. Vin Scully was announcing the Dodger game, and they stopped announcing the Dodger game, and they went with a Neil Armstrong, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Yeah.
Everything I've done in my life, I remember from a model airplane event.
Yeah, well.
We were at the beach. We were at the beach that week in July, and we were 60 miles from the nearest, probably 70 miles from the nearest TV station, and so we were fighting black and white TV snow and messing with the rabbit ear antennas and tying aluminum foil to them and doing everything we could to get just a moment here and a moment there of picture and sound. And we were finally able to see it.
That was the fun of watching TV.
No kidding. We got pretty creative with aluminum rabbit ear enhancements, but yeah, like you said, those were the days.
I was the remote. My dad would say, "Change the channel, turn it up, adjust it." Coming from how they used to roll, they used to flip. Turn the knobs or quit flipping.
Boy, when they landed on the moon, I was up in Alaska. I was commercial fishing off of Kodiak Island, and I got that news by shortwave radio.
Really? Yeah, and it was a full moon at the time too. So we could stand out on the porch and look up at the moon and think, "Wow, man, wish we could see them." But
here's what I want to know: if we went to the moon in 1969, and a pocket calculator has more computer power than what we used in, why haven't we been back? How do we lose that technology? I ain't buying it.
It had a lot of mechanical parts and a really simple guidance system, but they got it there. But nowadays, the percentage of failure has tightened up, and I think they had about maybe a less than a 50-50 chance of surviving that trip, and we'd never allow astronauts to fly on a ship with as low a survival percentage as that these days. It's got to be.
I got past the Van Allen belt. It's just BS.
I don't think it's a problem. It's not the same density of radiation everywhere, and they only spend a few minutes in it. Went right through, and and I don't know much about different types of radiation, but It doesn't have much penetrating power. And they do, I mean, they do get a dosage of radiation. They all had dosimeters and took radiation. They just knew they were going to take a hit.
Well, according to the conspiracy theorists, it was the aliens that told him not to come back.
Yeah, I've heard that. So.
Yeah, I got a good laugh out of that one too.
Tim Holmes on YouTube says his ship picked up a Apollo 10 May 26, 1969. So I guess Tim was on a Navy ship recovering the capsule. Is that what you mean, Tim?
Be an aircraft carrier.
Cool. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So, Rusty, did you make it out to your shop this week?
I got out there and fiddled a little bit, but it rained so hard all day Tuesday and it was so cold. No, I didn't go. And yesterday I got out there and just messed around a little bit. I wanted to check, make sure that it hadn't flooded. And I hadn't been out there since Tuesday. And I piddled around a little bit. I did not mix up any super fill, which is the next step I want to do. I did do a little sanding on that cowl and smoothing out where I had repaired and patched a couple of places. And it's so thin where the venturi of that TD comes up through the cowl that I sat down and figured out how to make an air scoop to cover it rather than trying to make just a hole for it to stick through, because it's going to keep breaking. I'm going to keep fixing it and I'm going to keep breaking it. It's just so thin right there that I think I'll build up a scoop on it, just carve it out of balsa. So at least I got that done. At least something figured out about it. So can't say I didn't do anything, but I didn't do much, but I did do that. So that's good.
Good. Yeah.
And I keep looking over my shoulder at the Cardinal sitting in its jig back there, and it looks like it's survived all this time out there with the changing environment without warping. That jig's holding it pretty tight. So I think it's okay that way. Just got to get that wing built. So that's, if I can get this Hyper Viper off the table, then I can get that wing on the table. The table's all glassed over and leveled and ready. So got to get her done.
Well, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be streaming from John's.
Okay, Sparky. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, Sparky.
See you, Sparky.
Rusty.
Yes.
Do you think RSM is out there? Do you want to talk about that monocoat over silk span?
I don't know if he's out there or not, RSM, but if you're watching, you can hear us asking. So if you're watching on YouTube, type in something and let us know that you're listening, or you can come back and watch it on the rerun. So yeah, we can, if you've got some advice to throw in on it, then let's go ahead and talk about it. I'll post back and tell him that he can go back. I'll make sure he knows how to get to the reruns. And
okay.
They're all on my YouTube site, by the way. And so that's Rusty K is my YouTube channel. And I'm not the only Rusty K on YouTube. So search Rusty K control line and pick the one that looks like an airplane guy. And that would be me. And on the front channel page, that's where the playlist of Google video chat, Stunthangar video chats is. So the reruns will be there. Now, RSM, let's talk about his airplane.
Okay, well, it looks like it's a Sig Magnum, is what it looked like to me, and it looks like the wing is foam with balsa sheeting, sheeted. Looks like the guy actually didn't do a bad job with it. it's not like redoing on an open bay type of a wing. The problem with putting a monocoat over completely finished silk span is that there's nowhere for the air to go. When I did it, and I still do it occasionally because it's very strong finishing method, and it doesn't weigh a lot. Is I'll put on silk span, and I'll put on like one or two thin coats of dope just to kind of stiffen it up a little bit. Uh, I don't think you possibly don't have to do that, but I like to do that because I just like to have the silk span a little bit stiffer. And when you're ironing it down, you lay it over, and I pull it, tack it at both ends at the root and at the tip, and I'll just kind of tack it around. Then I'll take my iron and I'll put it in the middle of the open bay. If you do it on a sheeted foam wing, you have to basically not have much dope on there at all because you got to get someplace for the air and the gas to get out. And if it's all finished up like that one looks to be, it isn't going to work. But when you do it, you'll start adhering the monocoat to the silk span, and I'm sure it'd probably work for poly. But the trouble is you're using a lot of heat, and I don't know what's going to happen to the shrinking on the poly.
I think using
Anyway,
an iron's probably the best way to go rather than a gun. I wouldn't blow it
yeah,
with a gun.
you could blow it with a gun, but you need to glue it down to that silk span. And when you do that, uh, it glues down and lays in there nice. You have no gas bubbles, no nothing. In fact, I put transparent yellow over silk span, and it looks like I've got uh, doped it on with a little bit of yellow dye in it. It looks really nice. They do the same thing with any of the other transparent colors.
So
So
you say do use a gun instead of an iron?
no, I
Okay.
used I used a I used an iron with the cover on it. The cloth
Right. With
cover on it,
yeah.
sock on it, and you just kind of work it on there, and you watch your heat. You don't want to get so hot that you melt the monocoat, but it'll lay it down, and it'll lay down really nice. And you just kind of work. If you get a little wrinkle in there, you just a little more heat in that area, it'll pull out. When you get it down there, then you can start pulling your leading edge down and your trailing edge down, and getting hooking your uh, root and your tip. You can pull your tip, pull it and hard, and heat it and stretch it around just like you would normally. But then you bring your iron back over after you formed it on and attached it on there. You bring it back over to stick it down to the to the silk span. Now, I don't know if you've seen my All American Eagle. It's done up uh, like flying, the Navy flying team, the Flying
The Blue
Angels.
Angels. The Blue Angels.
Blue Angels. It's done like that, and there's been a couple, but that plane has been around for almost 10 years. I haven't had to put an iron to it yet. My Legacy was the first one I did it to, and it's 15, 18 years old. I built it just a year or two after the Legacy came out, and it has not had to have an iron to it. I actually smacked that Legacy in upside down at a contest. I misjudged my height when I was trying to do an outside the last outside on the 4-leaf clover, and I smacked her in upside down on the asphalt, and it bounced back up in the air about 10, 15 feet in the air. Took off the canopy, took off the rudder, and it cracked the stab. And but I was able to bring it down, landed it, and I didn't want to pull everything off, so I just took a little ambroid and I put it in where the silk span and the cover, the monocoat had been cracked, and it's been that way since then. Uh, it's a very tough way to cover. It looks good if you do it right, and I'd say practice on something you don't care a lot about first.
Yeah. Good
But
idea.
Yeah,
And
but when you do it and you do it right, I got the idea. Somebody told me that I was using SIG coverall on an RC plane. Remember the little 440, the HOTS,
Yeah.
the little HOTS. Well, I built one of those, and I put SIG coverall on the wings, and I realized after doing that, I mean, it looked beautiful, but I realized after doing that, it was going to take a lot of paint to build that up.
Yeah.
So somebody said, well, why don't you put monocoat on it? So I did. I put a nice starburst monocoat pattern on it, and it looked real good. It went down. That's where I first learned how to do this. And I actually, after a couple of seasons, I went to take the plane off, and I had my aileron servo hooked up backwards. So as I cleared the ground, I'm coming off the ground, and I drop a wingtip, and I try to raise that wingtip up, and of course, what did I do? Roll it right over, and it cartwheeled the entire length of the field. Cartwheeled, turned itself into a ball, and I had
that's
a
an
nice,
unfortunately common. That's an unfortunately common RC mistake.
yeah. But I had the prettiest two bags of balsa when I got done. Those bags were.
One thing I would recommend too, while I'm thinking about it, is do the bottom panels first before you flip it over and do the top panels.
Always when you're monocoating.
Overlap for one, but
You want the overlap to be underneath.
Also, I always consider one. There's one pretty side and one ugly side. If anything's got to be ugly, it's going to be on the bottom.
Bottom side. Well, you know, with the way I've done it with this silk span, actually I put quite a bit of heat on the seam, and I can almost make that seam disappear on the lap. Almost,
Yeah.
you know, it gets pretty darn close to disappearing. The planes have taken a lot of abuse and have held up well with it. I wish he could ask me questions, because really I basically told him. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I went and spent some time this afternoon going back through my old posts, you know, on the search function, and darn if I can't find it. I don't know. Maybe that was one of them that Sparky lost in one of his mishaps with the server. I don't know, but I do know that Dan McEntee in Kansas City made a copy of that, because I got a copy of that article from him. And so if you want a copy of the article that I did, it was a long, not article, but post. It was a pretty long post that covered everything pretty much in detail. You can get hold of McEntee. We can ask him to repost it.
Yeah.
Or the fella Mark, what's his name? They always teasing about his ME 109 that he was supposed to be building.
Scarborough.
Yeah, Scarborough. I think he may also have a copy of it.
I haven't seen him post in ages. Is he still around?
He's still around, but I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen him either for quite a while. I think Dan McEntee would probably be the best possible source.
Yeah.
I know there's some other people that make copies of it, but
I wish
I'd
Dan
like,
would
you know, if we. I wish he would too. Dan's a good guy. Anyway, if there's any questions on it, I'll entertain them if you want me to, Rusty.
Okay.
I never used a silk span, but I don't know if you've seen that Banshee of Samantha's that was on the cover of, I think it was the AMA one. It was a pinkish purple Banshee when she was on
she was on the back cover. Is that it? Or on the front cover? Is that
on
it?
the front cover, yeah. She made the front cover. What we did with that one was we used the poly span, and I got it from Combat, and this took 6 sticks and went all around the outside edges and then down the ribs, because there is no sheeting on it because it's such a flimsy wing. And then you just take an iron and iron that all down, trim it up. We did both sides. And then, well, actually, we did the whole thing before we even stuck it in the airplane with the poly span. put the poly span on, then went back over with monocoat or China coat and ironed that on top of the poly span. And it made that wing so rigid, it was just unbelievable because of all the little fibers going and all the different, and that'd be like silk span too. The only problem we had was if you get a wrinkle in it, you cannot get the wrinkle out. And you cannot get that, you cannot get that covering back off that poly span.
Nope.
It fuses that together and it becomes its own type of material. To me, it's like Naugahyde. You know how old car seats that were Naugahyde or vinyl?
Yeah.
And it had that fiber on the back of Naugahyde that made it so tough.
I think Nagas are extinct now.
The Nagas are extinct. But it made it like Naugahyde. I mean, that stuff is so stiff and everything that it's just unbelievable the strength you get out of putting them two different materials together.
You know, Steve, I think you probably found, like I did, that the finish could come out looking pretty darn good, and it didn't weigh near as much as if you tried to paint it.
No, and what where I got that idea was from the combat guys, and they put that on there. Then they use that Caltac, not Caltac, but the stuff that it's just
Fast
like, huh?
Fast Cal.
Fast Cal, they iron on, or the stuff that that guy makes the kits for
Corehouse.
Yeah, Corehouse. That stuff he sells. They put that on there, and it looks like a doped finish. And they said it was so tough that them airplanes will take a hit. It may punch a hole in it, but it doesn't rip and shred the wing apart or whatever. It'll just punch it, it could punch a hole in it. But you usually see them damn combat ships hit. Man, pieces are all over the place. And they were saying how much stronger it made the airplane. And I'll tell you, I don't know what it does by hooking them two materials together with them fibers going in all them directions. But once it shrunk, it doesn't move.
You know, Steve, with the Fast Cal, a lot of guys are putting on Fast Cal and then putting silk span over the top of that and then painting it. And I think they're going the wrong way. I think if they want, because Fast Cal you can rough up and paint with dope or paint or whatever. It'll take paint. And I'm thinking, what I'm thinking is, if you want to paint it, you can put it on either without or with. I like to use something like underneath, like silk span or one or the covering you're talking about. And then you can spray on some dope on it. Just gets a little bit of color here and there and whatever, and it would look good, and would be very, very strong, very strong. You would not have to worry about your wing being destroyed if you took a bad bounce in.
Yeah,
got a little fly flying around in here.
Well, what's crazy is that we know how strong monocoat is. And we know how strong poly span is when it's done. But if you put the two together, they're like 5 times as strong. It's just crazy how much stronger once you put the two together are. And I never thought about silk span, but I bet you it will do the same thing because it's random fibers and it keeps that plastic, it locks it in, doesn't let it stretch.
You could probably put it over what they call doctor paper, because silk span's getting so hard to get.
Yeah. Yeah, we did that one like that. And that's what we're going to do with that. Getting rid of the paint because that paint added weight about 2 damn pounds once we painted it. So
tell me about when you're putting your China coat on to the poly span. Did the polish band try to shrink too, or did you have it pretty tight already?
I had it already shrunk up, so there was no wrinkles or anything in it. And the China coat doesn't take much heat to put it. That's why I like it so much better than some of the other stuff. And we just ironed it on. I mean, Samantha did it, that was her Nat's plane, so she had to do all the work. But we just had that one corner on the inboard wing where she pulled it, and she didn't have it pulled good, and she hit it, and it stuck it down, and there was a wrinkle. We tried. You cannot get the wrinkle out. We'd had to rip the whole damn.
I could get the wrinkles to slide a little bit and come out if they weren't too bad with the monocoat over the silk span. But I can see, but I can see where the China coat, when you're putting it over another substrate that would shrink with heat also, because it's low heat, might be a good way to go or attack that problem if you want to use polish band. And I'd suggest you do it because that would be really strong. But the one I'm familiar with and have done, of course, is the monocoat over silk span, and that I've got to change that because I don't have any silk span left. So I'm looking at this doctor paper now to see how that would work.
And I don't know. Everybody likes that doctor paper, but that was the toughest stuff I ever had to work with. I'll give somebody a roll of that.
I've swiped a couple of strips of it from various doctors' offices, but I haven't tried using it yet.
I got that stuff from Tom Morris, and it turned into cardboard.
Really?
Oh my God!
It's got a shiny side. They say to dope the shiny side so it doesn't soak up as much. So it doesn't soak up as much dope. I don't know if that makes a difference that way or not.
I could have poured a damn gallon on the wing and it would have disappeared in that damn paper.
Really?
Wow.
It will soak like you can't believe. And all the edges curl. And
that they tell me there's three or four different types of doctor paper, and apparently there's one that
it works good. Yeah,
it is
there's
strong.
A thread on Stunthangar that tells.
I put it on an SV11 fuselage, and it was a ARF. So you know how that bottom part fits on the bottom of the wing, and you glue everything together.
Yeah, the saddle.
Yeah, and it got a little oil soak. And Samantha was flying the airplane, and she said, "There's something wrong with this plane." And I said, "What's that?" She goes, "It moves around." She goes, "The whole thing's moving. Something's happening to it, And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So Land and I picked it up and brought it over. And I was looking at it, and I set it on this nose. I kind of lost a little bit of the balance of the plane, and I grabbed it harder and felt the whole tail go. And I'm like, "What the hell?" And I grabbed that, and I'm like, that fuselage is cracked. So we got it back home. I cut off the monocoat. There was only 1 inch of balsa left at the top block that was around it that wasn't cracked completely in half.
Wow.
I'm like, one more loop, it would have split that damn airplane.
Wow.
And I'm glad she just flew it out, and she said there was something wrong with it. But I glued that back together with CA and put a couple of patches on it. And I did that thing in that doctor paper, and I mean that thing is so strong. We've flown it afterwards. It weighs a lot more now, but picked up about 3 ounces in weight. But
if you thought about using that fast cal over that doctor paper, and then put some paint on it, you would be able to get by with a lot less paint. You wouldn't have to seal that paper.
Yeah, I think if I was to do it, I would put it on with nitrate dope because it doesn't shrink. And I mean, that paper shrinks so much. Like I said, all the overlaps were just sprung out, and I end up trying to wad them in. I finally, lucky enough, they were overlapped enough that I finally just cut off all that and then sanded it in, and then put some more dope on it, real light, real thick dope, so it didn't soak in too much.
I think I'll rethink using that on the Hyper Viper. That's what I'd been planning to use on the wing, but maybe I'll rummage around and see what I can find.
If I was
I probably got some old brown looking silk span from a kit way back that I can use, but yeah, I'll be careful.
I'd like to see what see somebody try on some plane using the SIG coverall with the monocoat or the China coat on it, because I don't think that would be near as heavy as if you put the coverall on it and tried to paint it. I know it'll be a lot less heavy, but it takes to the plastic covering really well, and it's extremely strong when it's done. I don't know what the weight difference would be between that and going another way. I'm kind of curious on that. Maybe somebody want to try that someday on something and give an idea what their weight difference is compared to, say, the same kind of design that was painted.
Yeah, I did a oh shit, it was a Great Plains kit, Sportster, and I did that with SIG coverall, and that got oil soaked. I had it for years, and the elevator cracked off when I was flying, and it was on such an angle, the damn thing wanted a barrel roll. And I float around and stuff, and like a dumbass, I don't know why I didn't. When it almost got, was head to the ground, I cut throttle, and I should have cut the throttle. Then maybe I could have got it back, but it hit. Like you said, I picked the whole plane up, and it was an airplane bag with balsa in it.
Yeah, broken balsa.
Yeah, it was just, I could take and fold it and bring it back out, but with the dope and stuff on it on there, even when the crash, the tail didn't come off. It was cracked up, and that was what messed it up. But it didn't even fall off, but everything in the tail was broken. The wings were just shattered. The engine actually broke out of it. It stuck in the dirt and snapped it off, but everything else was just in this bag of painted of coverall.
Kind of like a stuff.
You guys. I have a question for you. When you have the intention of putting monocoat over the silk span or poly span, how much dope do you put on that tissue or paper?
When I did the poly span, I did the SIG sticks it, because that's what they recommend to put down coverall and stuff, and I had it. And the that's what they said to use there on the with the combat planes.
Oh, okay.
So because that irons on, 6 sticks will iron it, and then you just put it on there and just iron it in, and it's made of dope. So then I just took a little bit of dope and made one pass over everything to stick it down, and that's all I did.
Okay.
Yeah. On the
silk span, is that something you paint on? Can you paint the sticks it on? What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, it comes out like glue, and you don't need much of it. You really wipe it out, but you'll see like brush marks and stuff. But once you hit it with the heat, all the brush marks disappear.
Yeah.
And it just,
and with the silk span, I put the silk span on with dope, and I used 2 very, very light, I mean thinned, like 50-50 of dope on it. I wanted there to still be opening. I didn't want it sealed. I wanted it to still be able to pass air through it, but I wanted to stiffen up the the silk span just a little bit.
Okay.
But one thing about the polyspan is once you put it on the wing and start ironing it, you can pull that and there won't be a wrinkle in that polyspan. Where everybody else, you try to dope it down and then smooth it and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
If I was ever going to go with a polyspan finish, I would use that sticks it, and you can pull every wrinkle out of it. You need very little heat then to tighten the covering.
Yep.
Do you thin the sticks it, or you just use it out of the can?
I use it right out of the can, but I heard people say that they do thin it. But yeah, I mean, if I was ever to do polyspan again, it would be with the sticks that around the outside edges, and that's it. And you just pull it like it's like a drum when you're done. You can pull every single wrinkle out, iron it in place, and that fabric will move all over. It's so simple. I mean, and then after I was done, then I just took some dope and went down the ribs, and it stuck it right down. And you could actually then even paint it that way if you wanted to go that way. But getting it down is so much easier than. I don't know if you ever tried to do polyspan around a radius.
No, I haven't. I have polyspan, but I haven't tried to apply it.
Oh, man, you try to apply that with dope around a radius? Holy shit. You fight it and fight it. You sit there and dope it and hold it, blow on it. Then you try to get that shit to dry out. Just spring back up.
Charlie, Charles. There, sorry about that. Charles, there's another product that is sold by Coverite called
Balsarite.
Yeah, Coverite. Yeah. Same stuff.
Yeah, I have Coverite too. I have some of that. I use it on my Nobler.
Yeah, and then the thing to remember is that don't try this on your new stunner without trying it on something else first, so you get an idea of what you're doing with it, because you don't want to mess up your new stunner.
Right.
I just use Sticks It because it's dope, and Randolph is compatible with it.
Yep.
And I didn't know about balsa because I got Balsarite film and I got Balsarite fabric or whatever. I got both of them. And I just didn't use it because I didn't know if it was compatible with dope.
It is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I've used it.
Hey, Jeff, long time no see.
Hey, Charles, how you doing? How's your plane going?
It's
just about done in it, Charles.
I haven't worked on it in over a month.
He won't show us till it's finished, and I know here any week now we're going to see it done.
I'm going to get back on it. I found off the horse. This life got me, but I'm going to get busy on it.
I have your lovely wife, Charles.
I have a wife and 3 young kids, and they keep me coming and going.
Oh, now, don't be blaming the wife and kids. You got a great family, and they're not the problem.
Yeah.
You gotta teach them how to sand, Charles. Teach them how to glue and sand.
They will sand when pigs fly. They're not interested at all this.
For you, Charles, I took my Strega apart and I put it on a diet and I cut out a bunch of wood that I figured was useless.
Right.
Without the motor, I got it down to 39 ounces.
No way.
Without the motor.
Oh my goodness.
I took half the ribs out of it.
Wow.
It used to have 18 ribs in each wing.
Right.
So I took out from the spar back, I took out half of them, every other one.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. Yep, exactly.
I cut out a lot of that plywood in the nose, and I changed it out with some lighter weight balsa wood. And what did I do to the motor mounts? I did something.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Put it back together, and I got it down to just under. It's like 39 3/4 ounces.
That's impressive.
No landing gear, no motor, no covering.
That's still pretty impressive, though.
Yeah, I thought maybe it'll fly now.
I did a lost foam wing. Well, I'm doing one, and I had Bob Hunt cut the ribs close. I think 1 inch, so you don't get that starved horse look.
Right.
And you could fully sheet it if you wanted or whatever. But on the plans, I think there was 15 ribs. And with this, you get 18. So I weighed the 6 extra ribs, and it come to, once you cut them all out, it come to less than 1/4 ounce. You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, there isn't, you know, and that way I won't get that starved horse look with using lighter wood and everything. And I'm like, holy shit, 1/4 ounce?
Wow.
You know,
a quarter here, a quarter there.
Now these are half ribs, Steve. You talking about?
They're full ribs.
Full ribs. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, but they weigh absolutely nothing, really. You know, when you add all that stuff in there, because you cut out the centers and all that, you only got 1/4 inch. You know, a couple little 1/4 inch pieces, and then a brace in it, stuff like that, or 2 little braces, and they don't weigh anything.
Yeah, I'll tell you another place you can cut out some weight. Instead of using plywood for your firewall and for your nose ring and stuff like that, I've gone to using balsa plywood with 1/64 ply on each side. It weighs 1/3 of what the same size plywood part weighs. 1/3.
Wow,
now, back in the day, and I don't know if you buy this stuff anymore or not, and this is going to be in the 80s. I bought, they called it a balsa sandwich, and it was carbon fiber on each side of a 1/4 inch piece of balsa wood. That weighs nothing, and we made our firewalls out of that.
That stuff's kind of expensive, isn't it?
You know, back then I was young and dumb, and if they said it was better, I bought it. And I probably paid way too much for it, but
yeah, I think it's pretty expensive what you're talking about. I've seen that stuff.
Did they have the grain of the balsa wood on between the 2 laminations, or did they have it running with across the laminations?
No, it's in-grain balsa.
That's it. They use that stuff for a lot for boats.
Oh, is that what it's used? I don't know where I got a piece of it downstairs yet, but we're from vibration and stuff on the old 60s. It would your mount would loosen up on your firewall because it would actually dent the plywood after a while. You tighten it down, and just that vibration. We started using that carbon fiber stuff, and it never moved.
Yep. I don't know who's supplying that now, though, to the hobby industry.
You know, I don't know where we used to get all. I had a friend that got all that stuff. Where he got it from. I mean, we used to get really good balsa, but one of his best friends started a balsa cutting business in Canada, and that I can't think of the name of it right now, but that's where John Brodat gets all of his balsa wood out of Canada there. And so everything we got was hand picked.
Oh, nice.
You know, we had like standing orders of 16th and 64th, whatever. And I mean, we'd get 100 pieces at a time. I wish I'd sell it to everybody, that if I didn't need it or whatever. And I didn't realize that someday it would become like gold.
Yeah, unobtainium.
Yeah, but seed grain and whatever grain we wanted. I mean, when he got a new shipment of balsa wood in, we get our pick of what we wanted. When we went to a contest in Canada, we come back with a couple hundred sheets of balsa wood, quarter-inch, just everything.
Nice.
So, them days are long gone. He sold that business. He worked for IBM there in Canada, and him and his boys started cutting balsa. Then he retired from IBM and was just cutting balsa for a long time and selling it to everybody. But then he sold the company. But that was like the tomb. We found out. I don't know if everybody takes a zip tie now and locks their tune pipe down on a holder.
Yeah.
Well, what Len found and how he came up with it, I don't know. But they still make them. You don't see them very often. I can order them, but I'd have to order like 50 at a time. But it's a piece of plastic with a hole down the middle, and it's U-shaped, and then it has like two little tabs.
Really?
And we put the pipe in it, and you had a rubber strap that hooked on, and you go across it, grab them tabs.
Wow.
And for the longest time, I didn't know what it was used for. But if you talk to an electrician, all it is a wire bundle tie, they call it. So when they're running all their wires down something in a panel or whatever, they can take and add wires or, later on and pull wires out. You just pull that thing off. And they made them in different sizes. And the one size worked perfect for a tune pipe.
Huh. So it's better than the Dave Brown solution?
Oh, yeah. Dave Brown just has that with the zip tie on it.
Right.
Well, what it is that with an RC airplane, the wing comes off. So every time the wing comes off, you got to take off your tune pipe. So you're always cutting off the zip tie and stuff. Well, with this, you just undid it and then pulled your pipe out, took your wing off, and then the other thing is, the receiver hitch on a car. Where you slide a receiver, your hitch in that receiver.
Yeah.
And on the side, it's got two holes. People think that's the hook you change on. You put your pipe in there. That's to drain your tune pipe, get all the oil out of it, so it doesn't get all over your car.
My God.
My buddy did that one day, and I'm like, God damn, that's a good idea. So we all started doing it. Just when we were done flying, we just pull the pipe off and stick it where you hook your chain. And let all the castor oil run out of your pipe. Hey, look, the kitty's back.
Yeah, he thinks I should feed him.
Yeah, my dog was just jumping on me. Thinks the same thing.
This cat is like a small mountain lion. He's well, let's see. That's about 2.5 to almost about 2.5, maybe closer to 30 inches from here to his nose, and he's holding his nose back. He's a big cat. I'm 6'1". Yeah. Anyway, I'm putting it down. His name is Hogarth.
Yeah, my
Did you
brother.
say Bogart?
Hogarth, yeah.
Oh. Hey, Lynn, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going, Rusty? Life's good here.
Good. Hope you
How's
can
the frozen
stay in
north
here
doing?
without getting kicked out tonight.
Not only once so far.
Yeah, I know. I saw it come and go.
So you got cats too, don't you, Rusty, or not?
Yeah, I got two of them, Professor and Speckles.
My brother had a big, same color as yours and stuff, like a cat. What was cool about that damn thing could slap a fly out of the air with its paw.
Yeah, cats are awesome fast.
If that damn cat seen a fly, that son of a bitch was in hunting mode. But it would jump up and, you see it going after and run, but it would just swack a fly right out of the air and then
That's
kill
a pretty
it.
good trick.
But yeah, it's hard to believe how hard they can hit with that paw.
Yeah.
Because, my brother's cat was like yours there, John. And
yeah,
a bird would land on the windowsill and that cat would whack. And you swear to God it was going to break the window. It hit so hard.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, my cat, the Professor, does not, neither one of them are getting along with the new puppy. The new puppy's name's Crayon, but Crayon is the fastest dog I've ever seen. I think she's got some greyhound in her because she can just about outmaneuver the cats. She chases Speckles around, but the Professor is not scared of her, and he just sits there and they sit there and look at each other like a Mexican standoff, and pretty soon they'll inch closer and closer, and Professor will reach out and just whop Crayon on the nose. But all this time, so we've had Crayon for a couple of months now, and never hurts him. But finally, Professor had enough, and I think he just stuck one claw out just a little bit the other day and hauled off and whipped Crayon on the nose, and Crayon went yipe and started taking rubbing her nose. Now she's being a little bit more respectful of the Professor.
Hey, Rusty, I got a question for you.
All right.
Is there any? When I was looking for the article or the post on the monocoat over silkspan, I ran into a couple of things that I had their HTM files, and one is a build for the Zweipanzerflug, and the other is using patterns, using the patterns to make your parts, and how you can come out with near laser quality, with just a couple hours work. A couple of various ones like that. Is there any way to post that or bring that in here, or should I don't think I can post it on Stunthangar either, because it was actually has to go on into a Sparky'd have to post it in if he wanted it in there on the website itself, I think. Do you know anything about that?
You can maybe convert it to a PDF, and you can post that into the forums.
PDF?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can turn it into a PDF file without destroying the sizing, I don't know if the HTM, you said it was HTM. I forgot what kind of file you said right now. HTM. I don't know if that's accurate size wise anyway, but if you could open that HTM file in something like Microsoft Word and then save as a PDF, then you've got a file that you can send through the attachments option on the forums on Stunthangar.
Okay. I'll have to look into it some more.
HTM in Word, then save as PDF and see if that works for you.
Okay, thanks.
In fact, you can post. You might be able to attach a Word file, but the thing is everybody doesn't have Word, and every version of Word renders it differently. So that's what PDFs are handy for. Portable document format. You can take it anywhere and everybody can open it.
I have a program that I use to convert my DWG files from my AutoCAD to PDFs, and I'll check on that too. I might be able to do a HTM directly to PDF going that way. I'll check that out. Thanks for the heads up on that, Rusty.
Okay, maybe that'll work. Come back and tell us if it doesn't. We'll figure something else out.
All right.
AutoCAD can print to PDF also.
Yes. I can also import the PDF into the AutoCAD file.
You know, earlier we were talking about the ship that picked up Apollo 10. It was Tim Holmes said his ship picked up the Apollo 10 capsule, and I looked it up. That's the USS Princeton aircraft carrier. I pulled up a big picture of it on Wikipedia. So I was just adding to that.
Yeah.
Bob Bishop says it's easy to Bob Bishop on YouTube says it's easy to convert stuff to PDFs on a Mac, but it's built into the OS. Well, yeah, but most everybody with Windows has a PDF reader, and you can save as PDF.
I was going to say my house came with Windows, but it didn't come with a PDF reader. I got a question for you guys.
We got to answer.
All right, so I built a profile for a vector. What this is one of Samantha's airplanes that we had a ball link fail, and it went in and destroyed the fuselage. So I thought to myself, well, hell, I got a good wing with just some few dents in it. I'll make a profile for it. But the center rib is in the wrong spot. And I don't know how to now stiffen up the wing to where this thing will work. Because
Steve?
Yeah.
Steve, you know, your fuselage can be 3/4 of an inch, maybe even up to an inch wide ahead of the flaps, or I would say the tail end of the flaps, as long as it was half an inch behind there. So you could actually make that front part of that fuselage a little wider and can carry all that inside the fuselage.
Okay, because the problem was because of where the flap horn's at, I got to go on one side or the other. I can't see her.
Right.
So
well, go on the other side. You know why?
Yeah, because that wing can be shorter. The outboard wing can be a little shorter.
Yeah, you don't want the outboard wing longer than the inboard wing. You want the outboard wing shorter than the inboard wing.
Right.
Yep.
Because it
So
flies
put it on
faster.
the other side. That's more right over to the flap. Maybe even a little further. You'll have to.
But I think
it would have to go.
And you'll have to extend that other flap.
I think he's already got some asymmetry built into the wing. And so, you know, you're going to increase it where he might have too much.
Yeah, that's
I know we flew back today.
Is the control horn right in the center of the wing?
Hell yes.
Oh yeah. See, that makes it tough. Okay, so you need to cut that bolt off and get the what do you call it? The rod right up close to the push rod, obviously.
Yeah. So what I'm wondering is, is that what I was thinking about is taking and just cutting this horn off and then extending my flaps out, which I'd have to do anyway because they're way short, and then just put like a plastic horn right there or something.
I wouldn't do that. The horn that's in there is stronger. Just make sure that you don't offset the fuselage any more than you have to from center.
Yeah, but when I do it, I forget how long, because I was going to go on that side, but then instead of having
you have to go on that side.
An inch and a half, I got like 2 inches difference in the wing because there's already that offset in it.
Can you cut and move the tip on the inboard side?
I might be able to. But the only thing is, no matter what side I put it on, I'm off of the center rib here for strength. I'm afraid that it'll crush, it'll break the wing. How you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, the only other thing I thought about was just cutting all the flap system right off it and putting a different horn in there, making a new set of flaps. But
yeah, you could do that and just put a horn. Leave the horn itself, but cut the upright off.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
cut the upright off, and then
yeah, and then
the upright soldered?
Pardon me?
Yeah, soldered.
Is the upright soldered on?
Yeah. Yep.
Can't you just heat it up and move it?
I could if I didn't have these brass things, clips or whatever,
the pivots
in here. Because I always put them real close to the pivot. You know, if I
hold it up a little higher.
Hold on, let me get.
There you go. Yeah.
I gotta get my picture back up. There we go.
You could grind those brass things back.
Yeah, cut them off.
Yeah, just take a cutting wheel and cut them, or even just cut them right off. You don't need them there.
And then unsolder that, and then move the whole thing down.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got this thing all ready. It's all ready to go. I just gotta make the cover up for this part here to go on, and I got it all set up for magnets and stuff like that. So, and a little pin to go pin the front thing down. But
yeah, I mean, you're going to have to put extensions on the flaps anyway to bring them in.
Yep.
So if you'd make the extensions and put plywood plates on them for the first couple of inches, like 132 or 164th plates, that'll stiffen it up enough so that the horn won't dig into them. If you put a nylon horn in and then plumb it up like a Brodak Cardinal, like a Brodak profile Cardinal.
Right. That's what I thought. You know, either I'd have to move that out or cut it off and then just put the horn on the flap itself. And that's how the Banshee's done and stuff like that too.
Yeah, exactly. But just make sure you have a good strong surface to put that horn on, because it takes a lot of stress.
Yeah.
You want some plywood there, not just the flap.
But yeah, I got all the other pieces, and it's like, man, this is going to be fast and easy.
No such thing. no such thing, pal.
Did you learn anything from that, Steve?
Yeah, my flap horn was in the wrong place. And the other thing is the elevator horn's in the wrong place too.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, son of a bitch. I cut the bottom. I built the fuselage and cut it all out. Then all this stuff's in place, and it's like, well, hell, I got my flaps already on. So I cut the saddle out of it and figured, well, I'll just glue the saddle back in and that'll be fine. I'll pin it or whatever. So I got rid of that problem, then put it on there, and I'm like, well, shit, this thing just keep giving me more and more problems.
Fast and easy, eh? I used to think that about a lot of things when I was younger.
Yeah,
fast and easy.
It might be fast and easy, but it's really fast and expensive.
That's right. Time consuming.
Yeah. No, I figured I didn't want to put a bunch of time into something I was going to crash anyway. So I'm thinking,
well, don't crash it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, don't crash it. Yeah.
Don't crash it. That's easy.
That always
Just crash it now, then you don't have to do any more work on it.
Steve, get yourself a grove of rubber spinners. That way you can bounce it on the spinner instead of crashing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I figured, I had the whole fuselage done in a day. I just laid the plan out and traced my wood out, and then figured out where I wanted my little zigzags in there and stuff. And I had everything here. Had it all done in a day. I'm like, yeah, man, I'll have this airplane back together in a couple of days and flying. So, yeah, I just don't like to put a lot of time into stuff that I crash.
Just stop crashing. It's easy.
Yeah. I never crash if I fly just straight and level.
No, me neither.
Me neither. Unless the line breaks.
Yeah, but so that was my project that just went to crap. But
well, hello everybody. Sorry I'm late.
Hey Dennis.
Hey,
how's it going?
Hey.
What's going on?
Oh, real good. Tonight was Christmas vacation night, so I don't know if you can see my shirt or not. But
I can see something. Yeah.
yeah, all right.
We're gonna get you up here.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I get you an eggnog, something to eat, drive you into the forest, and
neat.
Yeah. All right.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah, my son-in-law is a big fan of the movie, and he got us started on this. But one of the things we do, we get together one of those nights and just watch Christmas Vacation again. So
it's
I don't know.
Tonight.
It came
it's
on
the
the other night
craziest.
and I started watching it.
Yeah, it's the craziest funny movie in the world. So
I didn't realize what was this kid's name? Russ. Russ in that movie is the same guy that's on with Sheldon and Leonard. He's Leonard.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory. That's Leonard. No kidding.
Russ and that 8-9-year-old kid. That's Leonard. What Galecki or whatever his name is.
I didn't realize that either.
He doesn't look nothing like that.
Yeah.
I seen him talking about being on that. I'm like, when the hell was he on that movie? And he's a little kid.
I have to rent that if I can find that movie. I'd like to see it.
It came on TV and I started watching the other night. I should have clicked record, but I didn't.
It's playing right now. I'm listening to it.
I gotta expect and get that. I've seen some of the other Vacations, but I haven't seen Christmas Vacation.
It's hilarious. It's one of the better ones.
Especially when they get that tree and stuff, and he puts it in his house, cuts that rope, smashes out all the windows in his house and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, just one scene after the other. It just keeps building on top of itself, and it's fantastic.
The
I don't know.
Well, the cat and the squirrel, and
Yeah. Well, that little guy went through all 9 lives pretty darn fast, didn't he?
I gotta check that movie out.
Yeah, you definitely got it. If you haven't seen it, my gosh, you got to see it.
It's
got
What's it called?
It's right up
30
there with
years old now.
Caddyshack.
What's
It's
it
right
called?
up there with Caddyshack.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I'll have to
Yeah.
check it out.
I
Yeah,
love.
it's right up there. Caddyshack is classic, great movies.
Hmm.
I like European Vacation. I thought that was hilarious.
Hmm.
You know, we watched that before we left for the World Championships. It was on. I told Samantha, I said, "Watch." I said, "When we get over there, you know, they love their roundabouts every place."
Hmm.
And then it was, you know, him going around. There's Big Ben, and there's this, and there's that, and then like it's dark. There's Big Ben. And there's this. He just going around in a circle for a whole day. They wouldn't let me.
Was it? Which one was it that had the cop pulled him over because he left the dog tied to the rear bumper, and the dog had tried
That
running?
was the original.
Yeah, that was
the original. Yeah, going to Wally World.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grandma was in the rocking chair on top of the car.
Yeah.
Before she died.
She ate the sandwiches after the dog peed on them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That part was kind of disgusting, but yeah.
Well,
I gotta get that.
I came home from Salt Lake, come back down home. I've been up there all week with my wife going to the Huntsman Cancer Center. And there was a triangular package here. It came. I got it. Opened it up, looked at that. That's a nice drawing. I'm going to take it back up with me and have them digitize it so I can bring it into the CAD program and get going on it.
Yeah, it's good. The only thing I didn't think the ribs, well, I think there's just a root rib on it, and it's goofy. It's got a about a 65, one of those 65-degree triangle leading edges on it. I don't know if you notice that.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
crazy. I think I think the wing was basically based on a Nobler. I think if you took a Nobler wing and just fit it to the plan form, I think you'd be really just better off than almost anything else you could do.
I think the root rib might be a little bit longer because of the shape of that wing.
Yeah, but you see what I mean about how long that nose is?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'll get it worked out.
Well, I'm just glad you got the package.
I pretty well made it. Yeah, I got the package. It looks good.
All right. So
yeah, I talked to Jan today, and she said that John's really not doing any better, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you want to call and check, but everybody in the world wants to call and check. And I had sent a text last Saturday, and I got what seemed like a quick, kind of a terse response, and then wrote back and got another little terse response, and it was like, it wasn't mean spirit or anything. It was like, hey, I'm busy here,
Yeah.
And then it was like the next day, Alan Goff posted that note about John is in critical condition with with something else going on. So I don't know. It's almost like you're wandering past a graveyard here. It's like you don't want to know. It's like you can't really ask, but you want to know, and you just just waiting for some kind of news. So
yeah, I guess from what Jan said, he went through the operation fine. And he came out, I guess that was Saturday, and said he was talking and everything because they didn't know he'd be able to speak after they took out part of his esophagus or however they did it, whatever they did. And they said that they really didn't know. Some people can, some people can't. They said that he could speak fine, but then the next day his lungs started giving him problems.
Yeah.
And so then they induced a coma and got him on a lung machine or something. And I guess he's still on that.
Yeah, I actually I went so far as I called up Alan Goff earlier this week just to see if he had any other information, and he said he had tried contacting Buzz and their phone went straight to cover or something like that. So he's just going to lie back and wait too. I mean,
yeah,
we're all just kind of waiting and seeing is about all we can do, I guess.
Jan said that who's the lady there that runs everything?
Sandy.
Sandy was updating everybody once a day.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she'd, relay the messages, and that's what she did for me today. She just said that, it's not looking good. Nothing's really changing.
Yeah.
But, where there's life, there's hope. So he's still hanging in there.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. He's a tough old buzzard, and if anybody can beat this thing back, I'm hoping it's him. So anyhow.
Yeah, they said, she said that they're all so happy because he came through the surgery fine and was talking and everything else, and just everything went to hell.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Yep.
But there's so many diseases in the hospital.
Yeah, that too.
And he may have picked up influenza or something like that got his lungs weak anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, anything that looks like an infection with the surgery you had and everything like that, anything looks like an infection is going to go. It's going to go to hell in a hurry. So they got to get on top of it, stay on top of it. So.
Well, it's like next Friday, my mom's supposed to have that valve replaced in her heart, and they said she'll be there between 1 and 3 days. I'm like, damn. Well, they said that they try to get them out of the hospital because of all the stuff in the hospital.
Yeah.
SARS and all that kind of stuff. They try to get you
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Hospital.
Yeah, that MRSA got me.
MRSA.
Yeah,
MRSA.
Yeah.
That's what put me down I guess it was for the month of September and October.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had we worked in a hospice place, and we had to work in the MRSA wing of it. And I mean, they had us dressed with stuff, and we had to keep, every time we did anything, touch stuff, we had to sanitize our hands and gloves and stuff like that to make sure that we didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of like a quarantine wing of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't want you to not only to protect you from getting it, but to keep you from taking it out of the area and depositing it somewhere else, because it lives a long time on its own on a dry surface.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we got all their heat balanced out. That's what we were doing, because some of the rooms were cold. We got everything balanced and got out of there. And I didn't catch it.
Good thing is it's not airborne.
Yeah, that's what they said. It wasn't airborne. So, but we had to touch ceiling tiles and this and that, and that's what they were worried about, all the stuff we were touching in there. And then we had to clean our ladders and stuff before we took them back out, cleaned all the pads off where they touched the floor. And
that's wild.
But what is MRSA? Is MRSA a bacteria or is it a virus?
Yeah, it's staph. It's a form of staph, methicillin-resistant Staph aureus.
Oh, okay.
MRSA.
Wow.
Yeah. our old neighbor was in Florida and he got bit by a spider. And he got some kind of flesh-eating staph infection or something. And I couldn't believe all the meat they cut out of his leg and all that kind of thing. They cured him of it, but man, was his leg messed up from that.
A lot of times staph is mistaken for a insect bite too. It could have actually not been a spider bite. That's happened to a couple of people that I know of who thought they had a spider bite and it turned out to be staph.
Oh, well,
originally it was a spider bite and then later revised, and it was not a spider bite after all. It was staph.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe that's what happened to him there in Florida. He thought he got bit by one of them, some kind of damn spider down there or something, and he got sicker than hell.
I think there's a strep strain. I think there's a strep strain that can do that too.
Oh, okay.
Scary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna step away for a minute. Chief, I'll be right back. Just kidding. I'll be right back.
I missed the first hour and a half here. What's been going on here? What you guys been chatting about?
Oh, I showed him my quick and easy airplane that I was putting together that turned into just a, don't say it, a F fest, but everything I do, you just want to throw blockers for me.
Show Dennis.
Well, yeah. Well, Dennis kind of knew about the first part because I bought his nephew's. Shit, I'm gonna wreck it.
Not here. It tracks flies.
His nephew makes these. That plastic front end for. Hold on. Am I in the right place? There we go. His nephew makes these, and Dennis told me about them, and I got one, and it's super nice to go on a profile. So, yeah, and I bought the box from Tom Morris or whatever and put in there, and that all worked out good. Then I decided I had to cut the bottom off because the wing I was going to use already had the flaps on. Well, I go to put it together, not thinking this came off of a full fuse, and my horn's right in the damn dead center where I got to be with the fuselage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I got to cut the horn off or do something or try to move the horn over, and it just.
Why don't you just move the wing a half an inch over?
Then it'll be just on top of balsa wood. Because I don't have the spar in the right spot. The center rib, I mean. And I'm afraid if I move it over, that the wing will fold on me.
Wrap it with, give it some continuity. Maybe you can wrap it with some glass tape or something like that to toughen up the balsa next to it. But yeah, and I mean, you're still going to have to play some games with the flaps and stuff like that to to get it'll be off center. But I think that's fixable. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a lot of tearing up to do by the time you're all done with it. So.
Yeah, so that was, like I told these guys, I put the whole fuselage together in a day, and it's like, I had the stab, I had in the rudder, I just cut off, and the rudder was good, and I'm like, man, this will be easy to do. Then I figured out that the elevator, that horn's in the wrong place too for a.
Well, yeah, I suppose
center.
The ultimate plan C there is just to build up a fuselage and set the profile aside. You can get a plastic mount for a pro fuse too. So.
Well, I know what I would do. I would just cut those two. I would just cut the two verticals off the two horns, fill in the flaps and the elevators closer, and then set it up like a windy cardinal, just with the nylon horns.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That'll probably be the easiest way.
Are you gonna make it a take apart or just a simple plane?
I usually make all my airplanes take apart, and then I put them in the trash.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that a take? Is that
Take
a take
apart or
apart,
break
or it comes
apart?
apart, or breaks apart, or whatever?
Take apart or a break apart?
Yeah,
I take them apart one way or the other.
yeah.
That's
No, I
called
think Len,
crash apart.
I think I like Len's idea there a lot. I mean, that's a real simple thing, straightforward thing. You cut the metal part of the horn off.
Yeah. Well, that's what I
Yeah, just
figured.
cut the.
Everybody's like, "Oh, them nylon horns don't last and stuff," and I'm like,
Oh, baloney! I got a Brodak Cardinal that's been going for 11 years on the nylon horns. They've never given me a problem.
Yeah, but it's going to wear
Yeah,
out someday, Len. So.
that's
Actually,
like I've told everybody, I've never worn anything out on a control line plane yet.
yeah. Well, actually, the other way around it, if you're really worried about that, is you could do the Alan Brickhouse thing. He used to take the nylon horns and double them up.
Yeah, you can do that too.
You can get the ones that are mirror images, and
Yeah,
like
one exactly.
Mm-hmm.
One goes each way.
Yep. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I never thought of back. That's a good
You just
idea.
put them side by you just put them back to back, side by side.
Yeah.
So then you have 4 screws instead of 2.
Yeah, but still really circling all the way back to it. I mean, if you fly it enough to wear it out, that's why it's on the outside. You take 2 screws out, put a new one in, baby, you're good for another 11 years or so.
Oh, exactly.
That's what I figured. That's why everybody says, oh, like the old nylon SIG bell cranks. Oh, them wear out. And I'm like, yeah.
Baloney. I haven't worn one out yet.
That's like I said, I never come close to breaking one in on a control line airplane, at least, wearing it out.
The only bell crank I ever wore out was a perfect bell crank. The old aluminum ones. Just pulled the wire right through it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It only took 1 season.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a RF Nobler fuselage somebody gave me, and it had one of those metal. It reminded me of the perfect bell crank.
Yeah.
But it looked like it had been made from a piece of a cheap non-stick frying pan or something like that. It had some kind of Silverstone-looking coating on it, and there was little sparkly. There was little sparkly shit all over the inside, and black stuff too, all over the inside of the fuselage. And I didn't leave that in there. I took it out, replaced it with a like a Brodak bell crank.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Now you use the old. Now you use the old one, the non-stick bell crank, to flip your pancakes, right? Or something.
That's
like
right.
That.
Oh, beanie pancakes, yeah.
Yeah.
Non-stick.
Yeah, whatever. Oh my.
That's funny.
I couldn't believe it though. With this thing crashing on pavement, it just dented the balsa wood and stuff. But
what kind of wing is that, Steve?
This was the prototype for the Vector.
Okay.
So we had to cover it and everything. But when Samantha put that in at the Nats, she was doing her outside square. And a few flights before that, she's like, my handle's out of adjustment. We adjust her handle. My handle's out of adjustment. So I'm like, well, we better do a pull test and stuff. So we pulled and pulled on that. Man, I said, everything seems fine, because I thought something was going on with how it was tied, So we went over the speed circle to put another flight on it. And I said to her, damn it now, I want to see a hard corner on that that outside square, you know, because we were talking about that before, that first dive into the ground. You're kind of hesitant. She came across and man, she cranked that corner in there, and that elevator said, what happened is that the ball link pulled out of the damn push rod.
Push rod. Oh God.
That thing hit the tar. It had a perfect circle from the spinner. The spinner collapsed up in. The nose of the fuselage crunched in. That's what hit the wing, was the battery flipped out. And then the whole tail section sandwiched in, and the stab was right next to the wing. And the airplane was setting back on its wheels. It never fell over. It hit, so it just went like an accordion. It's set right there.
Short couple.
But the only thing that it really ruined was just the fuselage. But there wasn't, except where the battery hit the wing and dented that. And when the tail slid inside of the fuse, the midsection of the fuse, because it was skinnier, and that ended up the balsa wood a little bit, but never broke the wood or anything. It just gouged some pieces out. So I just peeled the covering off and skinned it a little bit with the epoxy stuff, and I figured, wow,
good to go again.
Yeah, I have this airplane all done in a couple days. But
well, you still can. Just get at her. Get out the Dremel cutting wheel.
That's it.
Yeah, so, yeah, I got to get back at it again. I got all the pieces down there.
Hey, Danny, another thing we talked about earlier before you came in tonight was this thread on Stunthangar where somebody called RSM was given a plane that appears to be a Magnum or something like that, was somebody's best guess. And it's covered with silk span. He wants to cover the silk with monocoat for whatever reasons. And he specifically was referred to a thread that John Miller had posted on Stunthangar, which John says appears to be gone now. So John spent a pretty good bit of time. We started talking about different ideas about doing that. And so I hope TDM's watching. He was asking how to get into the show, and I don't think he made it to YouTube or the video. I know he didn't come in the video part, but anyway, that's what we were talking about. We got a pretty good bit of mileage out of that.
What was stripping a finish? You mean, or what?
Well, he was asking if he could just put monocoat right down on top of the silk span.
Oh,
and I don't know why you would want to do that.
Makes it
but
heavy.
yeah, other than that,
if you did low temp, as long as it's low temp, I don't see a problem.
I think the only problem I could think of is that monocoat is a pretty smooth backing on it. I understand ultracoat is actually a lot better as far as letting out air and stuff like that. I think if you put monocoat over silk span, you probably have an air bubble kind of problem. But if you were going to use something like, say, ultracoat, you might be better off. What do you think? You guys have used ultracoat. I understand it.
I've never tried it, so I don't know.
You're probably right. It's a lot more pliable and softer.
Yeah, but I've heard that it also has the backing is kind of, I don't know if the right description, combed or something like that. It actually lets air escape better.
It has little micro channels in it.
Well, the plane that he showed a picture of, it appears that it's not just silk span; it's finished silk span.
So
it's been all filled with paint, and that's kind of makes it.
I think
actually now that
am I back?
Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
I just had to get I had to get a USB modem here, and the thing's hanging up on me some, so I'm not sure that's going to be the right solution. But I don't know how much of that I got through, but when you put 2 layers of monocoat on top of each other like trim, you usually get air bubbles. I understand with Ultra Coat, it's a lot
works
more
better.
forgiving of air bubbles when you put like 2 layers on. And with a silkspan covering that's airtight, basically, I would think if you monocoat over silkspan, you're going to have trouble with air bubbles.
That'll just take a woodpecker to it.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the other thing.
I don't know if I want to do that.
If you take silkspan and just put like when it's first put on and use like 2 coats of 50% thinned, dope thinned, stutter it again. Just 2 coats of thin dope on it. You can then iron. You've got enough porosity in there, but it's a little stiffer. And you can put the monocoat on it. It makes for a very long lasting and very tough covering.
Mm-hmm.
It also resists a lot of wear, and it doesn't require being reheated very often. I've got planes that are 10, 15 years old that have not been reheated.
Yeah.
Now, is this plane painted or is it just filled?
It appears to be painted.
Well, then why does he want to put monocoat on it if it's already painted?
I think he doesn't like the color.
Yeah, because the finish probably sucks for whatever reason.
It was probably green. It was probably a damn green airplane, wasn't it?
No, it's actually orange, Steve. Let's see. I can tell you, if you want to read the post, it is paint and finishing, and the title of the thread is monocoat over silkspan and dope, but it's in the paint and finishing section.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, well, Larry Ranger has been a big proponent of putting SLC covering over, I think, over polyspan, over almost anything, as a final top, hard shell coat, as opposed to putting dope on. I think what he's doing is he's actually sticking down the polyspan. I don't think he even puts any dope on it. I think he puts down polyspan, which has kind of a rough, papery kind of finish, and then he puts the plastic over the top of that, so it's still porous and everything like that, but he gets it perfectly sealed, and you get the 2 kinds of material that I guess reinforce each other, and it sounds like it could be a pretty tough finish. I think Doc Holliday has, been doing a lot of airplanes that way. That still doesn't fit the overpaint. It doesn't fit the overpaint thing. So
no. Mind you, I'm always trying to save weight, so I don't know if I would want to put even like mono or ultra coat over top of polyspan. It's just now you got 2 coverings instead of 1.
Yeah.
Ultra coat is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Like you gotta really hit it before you're gonna put a hole in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
know.
But
if you consider that you're going to have to fill and paint that covering, the monocoat over the top of it doesn't really weigh that much.
Yeah, but I think what I think it was Len, what he's getting to is that the polyspan doesn't add anything. While you end up with a tougher covering than just the ultra coat by itself. Ultra coat is a pretty darn tough covering all by itself.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have polyspan underneath it, well, it might be tougher, but it's like, what are we trying to do here?
How tough do you need it?
Yeah, so
I mean, if you want to deflect bullets or something, okay, maybe we'll put aluminum underneath or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Steve, tell them about Samantha. Tell them about Samantha's wing that you told us about.
Yeah, what we did is that we did polyspan, and we got it off from the combat deal. You take big sticks that go around the outside edge,
right,
and just iron on the poly span.
right.
And you can stretch it around and stuff, trim it off, and then take a little bit of dope, and I went down each rib to lock the poly span on the rib and leading edge, all that kind of stuff. And then it was on a band sheet. And then she just covered it with China coat, which was a low temp covering. It made it so strong, you just can't believe. And the only bad part is that if you get a wrinkle in that, I'll call it monocoat, China coat, whatever, plastic
China coat, whatever.
You can't get the wrinkle off because we tried to peel the monocoat up off of that poly span, and there was
not gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. No.
And like I said, you had the strength of poly span, the strength of plastic covering. You put the two together, and it's 5 times as strong. It just makes it's like I said, it's like Naugahyde. How they used to put that plastic on the back of that thread backing. I mean, it's so tough you can't rip it, do anything with it.
Yeah, and you ask why you want it that tough.
Exactly.
My legacy. I did with silk span, which is not nearly as tough as
tough at all.
Poly span.
Not
and
tough
I
at all.
Put monocoat over that, and at a contest, the Northwest Regionals, I misjudged my height going into the 4-leaf clover, and when I did my first outside, I actually smacked her in upside down on the asphalt. It hit so hard it bounced it up about 12 feet in the air, and took off the rudder, the cockpit, and everything else. But it was still all in one piece, other than the rudder being knocked off. And I was able to get it down and land it. The only damage, other than the cockpit and the rudder, was it cracked the covering on the stab, on one side of the stab, which I just used Ambroid to glue it back. It's still flying in that way. Now, if that had been just silk span by itself, the wing would have been probably trashed.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I might take a look at the thread. I don't know if I'd offer anything on it or anything like that. I think the whole idea, I would not be in favor of trying to cover over the paint just because it's like adding weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, if I really had to change it or something like that, I don't know, try to strip off the old covering somehow. Or at the very least, cut it open between all the ribs or something like that. Try to remove as much of it as possible. But
see if it's a Magnum, it's got a foam wing or it's sheeting.
Yeah, if it's a sheeted wing or something like that, stripe it, Charlie.
It's not going to happen.
I'll tell you what I have. I still haven't got around to trying it yet, but I've been, I've been trying to follow the threads and the guys who have refinished the airplanes using the strippers to. Well, the product they talk about is Dad's stripper. You spray it on, let it sit for a while, and you can literally peel silk span off of balsa wood. Right, it'll actually break the bond, right down at that level where Randy Ryan did that pose. He redid his Gladiator, and he peeled it off. He was peeling off this beautiful painted finish. He peeled it off from the bare wood like it was a piece of monocoat. All right. And by doing that, he pulled off all the bad stuff, all the paper, all the buildup and weight and everything like that. And he was able to, go through, basically touch it up a little bit. And he started right from scratch, recovered it and repainted it. And the airplane, I believe, ended up a little lighter than what it was originally. That's the Gladiator that Dick Imhoff has.
Yeah.
And it's a gorgeous airplane. So
I just thought of something. I have a Cardinal wing that I got that used to actually be John Batavio's, and it's a sheeted foam wing.
All right.
And it had some sort of a finish on it that just looked awful. I don't know what it was. And I let it sit in my basement for quite a while trying to decide what to do. And then one day what I did is I took out my little razor plane and I planed that entire wing. I took about a 64th right off the sheeting, off the 1/16th sheeting, the entire wing. And it worked beautifully. So I ended up with sheeting that was a little less than a 16th, but I got all that old heavy finish right off it and then sanded it all out smooth. It worked out beautifully.
Now that's an amazing approach.
And it worked great. I was shocked. Like, I mean, I can bring the wing up and show you guys. You won't believe it because I took the razor plane and cleaned it right up and then sanded the whole wing.
Huh.
Block sanded the entire wing, and it looks beautiful. So yeah, just shows you if you really want to make something work. Because I grabbed this wing and it was like about 26 ounces. It was really heavy, and I thought, hey, I might be able to do. It's no good the way it is. I got to do something with this. And the bell crank wasn't so good. So what I did is after I finished stripping it all, I cut the wing right down the center on my saw. Just cut the wing right down the center. Yanked out the old bell crank, put a brand new bell crank and pivot rod in, and a new push rod, and Bob's your uncle. It worked amazing, and I'm putting it in my new airplane.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, here's Samantha's airplane. That's what, 6 years old. Covering is like it was the day we put it on. I mean, there's no wrinkles.
Looks good.
Nothing in the thing. The coolest thing about this airplane is this tank I made up.
Yeah.
And instead of having to raise and lower the tank, all you do is move this little, can you see that little lever?
Yeah.
You just move that up and down. That raises, lowers.
Oh, that is so cool.
Oh, what an idea.
Yeah, so the univent is just right there. Well, it's right in the middle of the tank because I didn't want the clunk to hit it. And you just raise and lower it, and you
wherever
can
you want it.
Perfect.
So cool. Now, is that just the standard Banshee, or has it got some modifications?
Yeah, that's why it doesn't fly with a shit.
Why? Because it's just standard?
No, because we did the modifications. Yeah. We moved the wing forward. We made the tail bigger. So now it flies.
It still doesn't fly worth a shit?
It's the worst flying airplane that she said she's ever built.
You know what's interesting about that? I've never been able to make one work either.
Are they ARFs or they're kits, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
kit.
I think you move the wing back and make the tail bigger, and you can get it to balance. But that's about it.
Not much of a rudder.
You mean move the wing forward, not back. If you move the nose on that thing is extremely long to start with.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. You move it an inch forward.
That's better. That's better.
And you add 2 inches to the tail, or an inch on each side, or I think it was 2 inches on each side. And then you get it all done.
Maybe some rudder too. That's not, like you said, not much rudder.
Yeah, we used to call it a Dutch walk. When you turn a corner, the damn thing does this. The tail
waggles.
It waggles. And we had a hell of a deal. And it might be not enough rudder. I never even thought about that. But
probably a part of it.
So she had to time it. So when she came, like a loops, it flew good in loops and stuff. It was just square. Once you turned it real sharp, that thing would waggle, and she had to wait till it got straight till she made the other corner. Then it would waggle and do the same thing down. And she said,
really sounds like no rudder.
And she said it was really bad on the bottoms because if it hadn't waggled in the right position, you had to pull out.
Oh my!
She said going up and across wasn't so bad. It was that down.
Can you change the lettering on the wing to the Banshee Waggle?
Yeah, I don't know. But what was funny is that we hadn't flown it, like I said, 5 years in a row. And she always liked the looks of the airplane. She was like, I want to fly that again. She goes, I said, well, you never liked how it flies. She goes, well, it might have been me. I'm a better flyer and stuff. So I'm like, all right. So I put the engine back on it, put the wheels on it, took it out. She took off. She hit a square. When she went up, she just pulled out of it and just flew it out. She goes, now I know why I never wanted to fly it again after we left the NAC.
Yeah, that's like getting back together with the old girlfriend.
Do you still have the plans? I need a set of Banshee plans.
I don't. They might be someplace, but more than likely, Samantha burned the damn things the way this thing flew.
Hey, Steve, just a quick question. It looks like the tail on it is almost straight, like zero rudder offset or anything like that.
Yeah, it's zero.
Okay, that's. I remember Brett Buck posted something like that. He was helping out one of the people in his area, their profile model, and it had a problem, something like what you described, and he ended up fixing it with a tiny rudder. They had something like a glow plug package or something like that, and he just basically like taped it to the side and gave it just a little tick of rudder offset, and it wasn't so much a question of adding to the line tension as it was just putting the airplane in a stable position. Right, so instead of wiggling side to side trying to find a stable position, it had just a tick of offset in it that just kind of forced it the same way all the time.
Yeah, I never thought about the rudder. I mean, we went there.
Yeah, you would normally look at a lead out position or tip weight or this or that or something else. Yeah, all right.
That was David Fitzgerald's cure, and Banjack put that in there because he said he had a Banshee that done the same thing, and if you put that in there, he was saying that the vortex comes off of one of the wings. I thought he said it was the outside one. I don't know, and hits the elevator, and that's what causes it. But yeah, once we left the Nats, Samantha, I mean, she actually scored fairly high scores with it, but she just hated to fly it. She said to keep up with it, and
yeah,
that's how she got on the cover of with that on for the Nats magazine, because like 500 and something with it, but she hated that. She goes, it flies so bad.
Yeah, I guess I got a bit of an education. That flying wing, the big flying wing, the swept forward wing I showed off a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
That airplane is weird. All right, I built it, normal, everything straight and everything like that. But with the swept forward wing, it's actually unstable in yaw. There's not much of a tail on it, not much of a tail feather, not much, almost no tail moment. So it'll fly along and it'll just kind of yaw this way for a while, and then it yaws back that way a little bit, and it's just perfectly happy doing that. And as it's yawing, it'll maybe roll in or roll out, or whatever the last maneuver you did, it'll just keep doing that. And I ended up having to do some extreme things like a ton of tip weight and crank that rudder offset and whatever like that. Not so much to fix any one thing as to force it, as more of an attempt to like force it into a static position that it would always go back to. So the lead outs are too far back, and the offset is too great, and the wingtip weight is way too much. But the bottom line is the combination of things like that always forced it into a stable flying configuration, even if it wasn't necessarily a perfect or ideal balanced one. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because when we flew it, it didn't fly good. John Paris came all the way over before the Nats and flew with her, and he flew a bunch of flights with it, trying to trim it. Dick, Dick was trying. Nobody could get it, and we ended up taking it to the Nats. But I never thought about. I'd have just cracked that tail and re-glued it. At that point, it's. But
you could have looked like I don't know if that was a metal tab. You could have taken that metal tab and stuck it on the side of the fuselage, and in about one flight. And then again, it wasn't so much a question of saying, well, I'm going to increase, line tension, because, I don't think rudder offset is terribly effective that way. But what it will do is force the airplane into a stable yaw position.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what it was. It was like an airplane that hunted
about yaw, right?
Yeah, it was like it hunted, but it did the tail waggle on the yaw part of it going up.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't stable there. It was always hunting going up.
Yeah,
if we'd have, like you said, had something on there to force it to stay in one position, because it's like I said, when she climbed up and that thing would waggle, she'd watch it, because she said if it was coming in at her and she hit it, she'd lose line tension. But if it was waggling out or straight, it was fine. And but yeah, now everybody's saying that, it was probably, if we would have put the rudder offset in it like it called for. Yep.
I'm not sure it even called for much, or maybe. But the other thing about it is, I do remember on the Banshee plan, I actually have one up in the rafters. It's in my things to do pile too. But the fuselage has a fairly large, the profile is fairly large right over the wing where the canopy is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of skinnies down again, and then it's got a pretty low, kind of almost, it's a very small tail. It's smaller at the tail than it is in the middle of the fuselage.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't think you get a, you think of the tail is supposed to be like the tail feathers on on an arrow or something like that to straighten it out. But it's not big enough to overcome the size of the canopy and stuff.
Yeah, I gotta go. I've fallen asleep. I gotta go.
Well, I didn't know
that's
that
my
interesting,
job.
Charles.
I actually was leaning over. I fell asleep, so I'm out of here.
Charles, that's my job.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, geez.
No copying Len.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, get your own thing. Get your own thing there. We already pick on Len for that. So.
Hey, does Lynn?
I'm the guy who's supposed to fall asleep.
But does Lynn snore?
I don't
know. We haven't heard him snore. No.
Okay, I'll do that next. I'll snore next time.
No.
Okay.
When Len falls asleep, we were wondering if he died.
Yeah.
He doesn't move.
Nice, thanks.
He doesn't move, and it's like we're sitting there watching him, see if his shirt's moving at all, if he raises a tad when he breathes, and he didn't, and we're like, holy shit. Elvis had his phone number to home to call his wife and said, hey, he may have had a heart attack and died right here on Stunthangar.
Lynn just clocked out. It keeps kicking him off. Here he comes. He's coming back now.
I keep getting
get
kicked
up
out
early in the morning, so I'm gonna let y'all have it. Just turn the YouTube feed off. I hate having to go to bed earlier on a Friday night, but anyway, I appreciate everybody coming. Hey, Trey, and you didn't say anything tonight, did you?
I need to shut up, right?
No.
Nah.
I don't know. Who are you? What have you done to Trey?
I was going to ask you, did you get a pretty good shot of cold weather?
Actually, it's actually Steve I was getting on the other night. He's a big mouth that won't ever let me in sideways.
Yeah.
Hey, how's the weather? Did it get cold down there?
Actually, today was absolutely gorgeous. Problem with that is that I had to be at work.
Because they were saying something about freezing temperatures in Florida. So did it get cold there the other night?
I think tomorrow is going to start raining and be pretty cold, but today was like around 50s or so.
Nice.
I mean,
I
just
don't know. We had
Okay.
we had one
I'll have
cold
it on
day, and now
screen.
we're back above freezing. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to go out and fly today here, I mean, just go at it. I mean, it's just absolute stunning day.
Wow.
We have a heat wave coming tomorrow. It's supposed to get up to 27 degrees.
Wow.
Above or below?
Above. Heat wave.
and you don't mean Celsius.